Hi, Dawn Marie.
Hey Paul, how are you today?
Good. So I'm really excited about this webinar today because it's obviously a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and we have had a lot of activity over the last several months for Operator Connect and for Zoom Provider Exchange and for Direct Routing as a Service, and so it's a good time, I think, to get together and kind of discuss where we are, what's happening in the market, and I think we really touched on some really key points here. One of the key things that stands out for me is the here we are in October, November of 2022. And as we kind of internally joke all the time, most operators are still in Operator Connect without, really a kind of a front to back automation capability and an ability to really to kind of transact very easily, right? And so I think that's one of the key points of Operator Connect, and really our reason for being and existing is to really assist and accelerate that very specific task in Operator Connect. So I'm very excited about this program. I think we're going to talk more about this as we go through the slides.
Yeah, and we've seen, kind of missed opportunity there that customers are getting excited about Operator Connect, but then they go to their carrier's website and they don't really have the ability to transact or interact or engage with them on it. So I think that that's really key. One of the things that I've learned throughout this process that I'll highlight as a insider learning is that a lot of these customers are confused on the differences between what is direct routing, what is direct routing as a service, what is Operator Connect, and what is Zoom peering or Zoom provider exchange. So, as an accelerator, one of the things that SIPPIO will really focus on with our carriers and partners is educating you so that you can understand the key differences of these, make good decisions about what you want to bring to market, and really be that trusted advisor for your customer and get rid of any sort of misnomers that are in their mind or floating around as they're evaluating which path they want to go down.
Yeah, so true. Yep.
Very good.
So as I said before, kind of really what our reason for being is to assist carriers in this whole space, right? So, in order to do that, we had to do a lot of work with Microsoft over the period of about a year and a half to kind of really vet and understand the requirements of Operator Connect, demonstrate our capabilities in Operator Connect, write all the APIs and the requirements that Microsoft had for being an accelerator. And so, really, chief among them, and this it was really, kind of home for us because this is kind of why we really spawned SIPPIO to begin with, right? Is we wanted to really simplify and accelerate the time to revenue for voice users wanting to go into Teams or Zoom Provider Exchange or in the future another collaboration platform.
Right.
And so we built this full suite of automation tools. We've really focused on really excellent customer experience. And that customer could be our partner, but also the end user that's going to consume the service as well. And as we've grown and added more capabilities, we also have kind of kept to our heritage of being a SIP aggregator and bundled that solution in with all the platform tools that you have. So it's really a full service solution. We really focused on excellent customer experience, and I think we're really excited about the opportunities going forward.
So if you watch our last episode, we've really focused on the different pathways that you as a carrier or a partner could go down. What I wanted to do in this episode is tell you how SIPPIO can help you with those different pathways. So if you are looking at 12 o'clock there at direct routing or Zoom peering, we have a best in breed solution that we certainly can help you look at how you're building yours out. What's your architecture? How do you make that ready to sell? Get ready for market, and how do you do some of the things that customers need with legacy and analog integration. Or we also have a white label solution that we call Carrier Connect, and that you can extend into your own customers leveraging our platform. You can brand that so it looks and feels like your own solution, bring in your own dial tone, and it really will help you to sell quickly and easily today, as opposed to having to build out something end to end. And then the next two pieces that SIPPIO has become known for are the ability to accelerate you into Operator Connect and the Zoom Provider Exchange programs. So we're fully authorized and certified to help you with that. Paul mentioned on the last slide, that we undergone all the certifications and testing with Microsoft. We've also done that with Zoom as well. We were one of the first to market with the Zoom solution, and our tool set and our automation capabilities in our platform supports both of these in one single interface. So you're not having a separate stack or a separate piece of functionality to maintain both, which if you have a bipartisan customer, that'll also allow them to manage their whole environment from one solution. And then another piece that's really special and unique about SIPPIO is because we brought a retail solution to market first, we do have a footprint in 74 different countries around the globe today. So if you're a carrier or a partner that's selling into a specific area, you can leverage our services to expand your global footprint for maybe some of your multinational customers or customers that are choosing to work from the beach in Bali or Tahiti or Hawaii, et cetera. We can help you there. And then lastly, one of the other things that we do and we think we do pretty well is we build everything from the API up. So you can leverage our APIs through our solution to customize your own applications. If you've built something, that you have that's customer facing or you're planning to, and you can align this with any integrations that you may need to your backend systems or your partner's backend systems.
That's a really key point, because and we have had spoken to many carriers, which they have some of these capabilities, but they don't have the full suite of capabilities. So we want to meet the carrier where they are in their own evolution and not force them into a set of tools that they have to use, even though they have something that they may be more comfortable with, that may be already integrated into their processes. So the ability for us to leverage APIs and build with that kind of thought process in mind really makes it very flexible for carriers and a lot easier for them to consume our service. But at the end of the day, it's all about outcomes, right? And so we want good outcomes. We want happy partners. We want happy customers. And I think, as I said in the previous slide, you have to meet your partners where they are in their own kind of evolution, right? And they're in their own evolution. They've been doing certain things. Many of them have been doing direct routing from the position of building kind of one by one by one, right? So every time they get a customer, they have to stand up infrastructure and capabilities and consulting. And so we don't want to tear all of that good work down. What we want to do is complement it, all right, and make it really more viable. And as I said at the very beginning, a lot of this really comes down to the faster that we can accelerate a partner and the faster that partner can accelerate a customer, the faster they all get to revenue. And that's a key consideration for carriers, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of, projecting what the opportunity is in the market. We have some capabilities there as well that I think are really, really differentiated. So based on our retail experience, based on the hundreds of thousands of end users that are already enabled with our tool set, we've gotten a really good picture into what's going on in the market, what the commercial models look like, what the customer needs and wants are in certain geographies. And so we're able to take all of that as part of our program and kind of help assist carriers. So I think that's really, really powerful, because a lot of the folks that are in this space really view it through a pure technical architectural lens and
Okay.
not really enough about the business and the market outcomes that you really want to attain.
Yeah, so I think now we'll dig into the fast track program. Paul, if you want to take the right side, I'll take the left side,
Sure.
but on
Yeah.
all pieces and parts of it that are so important.
Yeah, for sure. And then again, we're going to talk. I think you're going to talk a little bit about more the market side of it, which I think again is very, very critical. But obviously, you want to have a process for bringing your carrier into this space, whether it be for something like Operator Connect or Zoom Provider Exchange. And so for us, what we really found to be very important is that defining upfront roles and responsibilities and having executive sponsorship on both sides is critical, because again, a lot of our carrier partners and other partners tend to view this through very specific technical architectural lens, and they don't necessarily have the kind of the full view of, okay, how am I going to enable my sales force to sell in this space? What's the right commercial model, right? But we do have to tackle the technical piece, and so we have a really well defined process. After we define those roles and responsibilities and get everything set up, the best way to do this and that we found is to get people into a lab environment using the tool set, working through kind of how this works with their existing tools and capabilities and processes. And we found that to be very, very powerful. Many partners, and I have at least two or three carriers that I could name off the top of my head, will start with this idea that they want to do a lot of this themselves. And then what they find out is as we walk them through what we've built and what the requirements are from the various collaboration providers, it becomes a little bit of a bridge too far for them, right? So they may start off using more of the platform capabilities, or even in some cases, all of the platform capabilities that we have. But over time, they may decide that they are going to kind of deprecate some of that and start to bring their own portals and own tool sets into the whole process, which is great. We just define that up front, and what they want to use, they'll use, and what they don't want to use, they don't have to use. And that makes it very easy for them to kind of make some decisions. But then it extends into kind of how do you transact, right? And the transaction pieces are also very, very important, right? Some partners have their own quote to cash tool, they have their own CRM tool. That's no problem. We can leverage an API to tie into those tools. But we've also built out templates and capabilities so that if they want to get in fast and start to do business right away, they can leverage some of the things that we have in Partner Portal right today, and then again over time move to their more comfortable position of their own tool sets. So I like this approach. It's been very well received by the carriers that we've talked to, not mandating that they use certain things, giving them the flexibility, but walking them through the process and the requirements so that they kind of have a full view and full understanding and context for what decisions they need to make.
So focusing on the left side, I think that these are two of the most important pillars. And if you hear me talk or listen to some of my blogs, or I see you at one of the analyst events, this is what I tend to talk to the most, because this is where I see people have a lot of extra time and focus that they need to spend here on the customer readiness and the engagement pillars. If you think about this, if you build it on the right hand side, will they come? Yes, but you still have to entice Shoeless Joe Jackson to your field. And to do that, you need a great offer. You need marketing out to your customer base. And you really have to showcase why your experience is so good and why and how it differentiates from everybody else's out there. I think these are really important to your success, because you really need to know and understand your customer base, what their evolving needs are, and make sure that you have a strong value proposition that your sales teams can go out and articulate, along with creating, a subscription and a bundle that's at a competitive price point. We mentioned at the beginning that Fast Track program was how we built the SIPPIO business. And we literally did build it through these four pillars, coming up with the idea of what the architecture would look like and then how we would automate that. But where we spend most of our ongoing time is in the readiness and in the enablement pieces. And we have a lot of collateral as well as data around price points, price modeling, SKU building, et cetera, that we share with our carriers and partners to make sure that they are building something that's competitive and compelling to go in the marketplace.
Yeah, and I think, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, those two areas are so critically important to the success of the program. They bear repeating over and over again because, as we've seen, and what a lot of my carrier customers give me feedback on is, everybody kind of looks at this through a really technical process, and that's really half the story. It's super important to get it right. There are obviously a lot of really significant requirements that Microsoft and Zoom put in place for carriers to be members of this program from a technical and architectural perspective, but they're fairly well understood and they're fairly straightforward in terms of implementing and getting right. What's really difficult and a little bit more of an art form sometimes is really understanding your market and how to go attack it and be successful in it. So I think the fact that we have this data, the fact that we have this experience, we can really help carriers and partners be successful from that perspective. So, at the end of the day, why would you want to work with SIPPIO? I think we've called out a few key points that I'd like to just reemphasize. And one of them is, at the end of the day, flexibility is pretty important, right? If you go through a process where you're mandated to use all the components that a provider has, you really create some challenges for the carriers to actually be able to adopt that approach. If it's their choice, that's one thing, but if you force them into an opportunity or into an architecture that they have to leverage, really creates a lot of complexities on the back end for them because they have their own existing infrastructure, they have their own tool sets, and they have their own processes. So we really have to be malleable in that regard, and again, meet them in that their evolution and their journey to where they want to be, and let them leverage and make the decisions about what components they want to use today and then maybe over time. And that I think has been very well received in the market. I know it's been very well received by my carrier partners, and it's we've been actually been told, this is a very flexible, easy way to go about doing this. The other piece that I would tell you is that there's a lot of emphasis, and we are really champions of the automation piece, but there's a lot of emphasis solely on this kind of partner self-care model where they go through and kind of configure themselves into the system, but it leaves out that whole other side of how do you transact, how do you create a great customer experience, how do you look at your market and segment it appropriately to determine what solutions are going to be the best fit and what the commercial models are going to be. So I think that you really have to have this holistic approach. And in our process, I think we address it very, very holistically, and that's a huge plus for us.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say that the thing I pride myself most on at Scipio is just our completeness of vision. I always kind of think of that magic quadrant approach that Gardner has. And as Paul said, we're here to help you build out that great customer experience because you need that, and it doesn't come just from having an architecture stack. It has to do with all the pieces and parts combined there. So thanks, Paul. Great overview there.
Yeah, thanks. This is again, this is a very exciting topic, and it's an exciting time. I think there's a lot of buzz around this space. I think we'll continue to grow as we come out of the last couple years and we move into this work from anywhere, hybrid work. Is it remote work, or what's it going to be? But at the end of the day, you need a tool set. You need voice. Voice is still and will always be critical. And I think the faster we can get people to a consumption of the service, the happier everybody will be.